Hey, what's up guys? X-Soldier here. I'm about to show you the leaf barb for 2.2, the new improved one. I think it's a little bit better than the old one. And this whole thing revolves around the Ingeom. You know, what inspired me actually was watching the monks get that, insane dash strike, freaking setup, which I was just like, dude, that's insane, right? And so I was wondering, I'm like, shoot, what can the barb do something like that, maybe not as quick, but still something that's pretty cool. And she got me thinking. I was like, well, all right, what would he got? We got leap. I was just like, so I wonder if they work together. If you get locks out, if you get the setup, and you start leaping, will you get like non-stop freaking leaps? And go to figure, I go try it on T6, but just to test it out. Of course, I couldn't kill nothing because I was so unoptimized, so I had to bring it down to T3 and try it out. And it actually worked. It allowed you just non-stop, just constantly jump and earthquakes, all over the place. So the setup we're looking at right here, guys, the setup is IK, 4-piece of IK with the full set of Might's Earth. Well, not the full set, but the 3-piece set with the RoS. And this is going to allow us to do our normal leaps, with Earthquake. And then this is also going to allow us with the IK to have perma Zerking up. And the lock socks for that, you have to have these for the whole leap stuff to be happening. And the main thing, actually the key item, is this weapon right here. And you want it ideally to be 10. I got this, it didn't roll ancient, but it did roll pretty decent, 10 damage on there, some cooldown, and then it rolled with a max of 10 seconds on there. So I was like, why not? Eventually at that time I was just kind of like, it's like whatever. But I figured, I was like, maybe I can make this work around something, And then for the weapon, the other weapon, we're just going to use the Sunkeeper for right now because that's the best thing I can do. I've been trying to re-roll this weapon for a socket because that Poison Nova damage would be pretty decent, to be honest, but I haven't gotten the stupid thing to roll socket yet, so I'm just going to use the Sunkeeper, which doesn't matter because you get that 71% elite damage, which is always a plus for leaping and stuff like that. And then rings, we're going to use the RoS, and then we're going to use SOJ. This can be any slot right here with any kind of decent ring you have, though. It doesn't really matter. SOJ probably better, though. And then amulets, doesn't matter. Hellfire, if you got a good one with that, extra passive on there, would be really good. But the weapon, definitely Ingeom. And the bracers, you definitely want to be Nemesis bracers because you want to get that extra elite pack from shrines and everything like that, just because that's what keeps it going. So, but I have these right now, and I have not upgraded my Nemesis bracers since level 59, so that kind of solves the problem right there. So otherwise I'm just using this right now. And then with the stun enemies, it kind of does help too, because in a sense, when you're looking at the skill set, which I'll talk about right now, when you use leap and using death from above, you get that 100% chance to stun for 3 seconds. And seeing that you're constantly just leaping, you're just non-stop stunning everything. So Parthenon Defender is not a bad choice, to be honest, but if you can do the quick swap, do it, and otherwise you want Nemesis bracers in here. Plus it's only T6. If you have really good gear, you're not going to really be tripping about that extra damage for the most part. And so skill-wise, like I'm saying, you're going to use leap, death from above. Hammer the Ancients is our Fury dumped for the 4-piece set of IK, because you want to, when it says reduce the cooldown of Wrath of Berserk King and call the Ancients by 3 seconds for every 10 Fury you spend. And seeing leap doesn't cost, you're gaining Fury doesn't count towards cost, so you need a sort of you need a dumper. And well, Earthquake in general it does count as a dumper, but it always comes up when you kill enemies and stuff like that, so it's not constant. So what we have to do, we have to find a dumper, and so that dump is right there. It's gonna be Hammer the Ancients. You could also use Seismic Slam, both viable choices. I'm using just Hammer the Ancients using Smash right now. You could use Seismic Slam and Shattered Ground or whatever element setup you are. But for my go, this is working just fine. And then so we're using that, and then call the Ancients. I'm using Ancient's Fury. Extra Fury is always beneficial to this thing because you need Fury to dump, and if you're not getting it, well, you can't dump nothing if you don't got nothing. You know what I mean? You could use Council's Rise, but to do that, you would probably have to swap out to Boon of the Bukathos and use Might's Earth, and because every time you jump in, you get in 30 fury. So that would also be a viable thing. Because this is more reliable, say, in groups, because groups, the NGM procs off of just not yours, but in groups too. So you don't necessarily have to kill the elite pack. If you're in a group, everything freaking proc is at procking. So in a sense, you're just jumping all over. You're never stopping. So if you wanted to do that setup with the extra more damage from Call the Ancients, you could Ancients Rise. You could do that setup. If you're playing more solo, I prefer Ancients Fury right now, because to be honest, the damage really isn't coming from Ancients. Call the Ancients. They're just kind of there for just that extra boost of damage in a sense. So I always just run with Ancients Fury. And for the other one, Blood Rage, Bloodshed, of course, Earthquake, Molten Fury, or whatever, element setup you're in. You can use fire, ice, lightning, whatever, physical, doesn't matter. I like fire. Fire's cool, it's pretty. Wrath of the Berserker, Insanity, obviously, and then passives, we're going to use Ruthlessness, Brawler, Boon of the Bukathos, Rampage. You could possibly swap out this if you really don't need it, and you could go Berserker Rage, because we do have a lot of Fury, like a lot of the time. You could also go with, I don't know, if you need more survivability, Nerves of Steel or something. It doesn't really matter. I mean, it's yeah, you're not going to be dying that much. I mean, you take some damage, but it's nothing crazy, you know what I mean? So that's the setup right there. Paragon points. But I'm not tripping. I'll eventually get back up. We're gonna go core. We're gonna go strength, movement speed, and then after that, if you need vitality, whatever, doesn't matter. I have it on attack speed right now, but it doesn't really matter. I guess you can put it in critical hit chance. This was for whirlwind setup anyway. So yeah, you could just do critical hit damage, critical hit chance, and then I don't know. Cooldown, sure, why not? You don't necessarily need cooldown, because you're always, the leap is always up, so it doesn't really matter. And like I said, if you're playing in groups, the proc is always up. So cooldown is pretty much for off times when it's not on cooldown for your leap to come back up. So in a sense, you don't really need to put points into this. So these two would be ideally maybe attack speed for the more extra damage or whatever. And then here we're gonna do the normal resist, armor, life, regen. Here, AoE damage, and here you don't even really need resource cost reduction or whatever. I mean, it doesn't really matter. And here, life on hit. And that's the setup you're gonna do for Paragon points. Legendary gems. We're gonna do Bane of the Trapped. We're gonna do Bane of the Powerful and Gem of the Toxin right here. You could ideally roll with Taeguk right here. But to get those stacks all the way up to max and always keeping them up there, it's going to take a bit, you know what I mean? It's not as fast as Whirlwind where you just spin and spin and spin, and those things just, start racking up super quick. This is kind of like, jump, that's one, and when the proc would be going, that's be like, so it's every like one. It's not like one when you're when you're whirlwinding, so it takes a while. So it's not that efficient, let's say. So Bane of the Powerful, just for that boost of damage, that always helps. And then of course this one for the impairing extra, just boosting damage and then more damage and then increased damage from everything else. So those are probably the two best ones you could possibly go with. If you want, I guess, like I said, if you want cooldown, which kind of negated in this setup, you could use this. I haven't leveled up, but it's not really needed. It's not needed. So I mean, to be honest, like that's probably the three best ones you want right there. And like I said, gear-wise, whatever the two best slots you have, you definitely need this. This is a must for this to work. And then whatever your second option is, and then that's about it. I'll show you guys some gameplay right here real quick. Pop this open. And ideally, like right now, it's just set up. We're just looking for elites to kill right now. So we're just gonna kind of maul through here. Oh, it's not that gonna let me do that. There we go. And sometimes you'll find that we're like slum and there ain't no elites. All right, here we go. We got pack right here. And you're just gonna jump on these guys, and you have to kill everybody. You gotta kill all the minions. And there we go. We just procced. So now we're just gonna be doing this all day, baby. And unless we can go through this door right here. So we're just gonna be like, don't mind me, man. I'm just kind of jumping for joy, babies, because all I do. Oh, we got a goblin, nice. We're just gonna be doing this, and goblins proc this thing too. So, which is pretty cool. Oh yeah, you give me a dagger, that's cool. We're just gonna pick some of this stuff I need back. Just gonna go jump on this Rift Guardian a couple times. There we go. See how he's perma stunned right here? Like he's not even doing nothing. And guys, yeah, that's the play. So imagine if you're doing this, if you're doing this solo, that's what it looks like solo. But if you're doing this in groups right now, like I said, the proc is almost always up because either you're splitting apart, people are killing, elites left and right, and even in town it works. Like, so if you were in town, they kill an elite pack, you'd be just jumping around, and it's kind of not broken, but hey, whatever. So yeah, like in groups, you're just constantly jumping around. You don't really have a downtime time. The only time you're really stopping to do anything is use hammer or seismic slam to get your Wrath of the Berserking back up. But otherwise, I mean, I think it's pretty fun. It's a little thing I swap to if I get bored of just whirlwinding all over the place. Just swap to this, and whatnot. It's pretty fun. I like it. It's different play, and then it brings back to Leaf Barb. Just maybe not crazy popular as it was, but hey, something new, because if you still have that set and you've been like, man, I want to use this now, but it's like not good at all, you know what I mean? But now in the set, it's like, this is the Leap Barb. You know what I mean? That's all you're doing. Before it was like, yeah, you're leaping 3 times, that's cool, but this is just non-stop destruction in a sense, you know what I mean? So, and imagine, just get 4 Barbs doing this. Oh my god, like, you got fire, lightning, ice, all the pretty colors up on the floor and just non-stop going. So That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So anyways, guys, I hope you liked the video. Hope to see more of you guys busting out this spec out there. You know, it's pretty fun. Hopefully see you guys around. Thanks for watching, and have fun.